Can you hear me now? I'll make it a lot less noisy as soon as I'm done with this. So don't scream into the mic quite until I can fix the sound. So, welcome everyone. We are thrilled. We are thrilled to have our author night finally. This group of authors have been, we've been on the agenda since February. And then the first winter storm hit, and we had to get new paperwork because we rescheduled to another day, and the second winter storm hit, and we had to do more paperwork, and so we thought that we were going to be safe in the spring, and then we had a tornado warning. So let's shoot for 2023 as the perfect day to do this, okay? All right. But we are excited. I hope everyone picked up a paper, because the way that we're going to work it is we're going to invite each one of our authors to come and talk at the microphone. They're going to read for about 5 minutes or so from their work or talk about the work. If you have a question, make sure that you jot it down next to their name. And then that way, when we're done with all of our readings, you can go ahead and visit with the authors at the table and ask questions. So we have one particular author she is the reason why we have so many wonderful people here tonight. We met her last year when we were doing a Life Stories, and she has been just a complete godsend for this library ever since. She has helped our Writers Guild. She has helped one of our Writers Guild members with getting published, and she is working with more of our writers. She always gives of herself, and we are so pleased to have her. So guys, can we give a big hand to Ashley Knight?
You want me to wait till you get the sound down, or? Okay. Well, thank y'all for coming. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're good. All right, again, welcome. This is the second one, and I'm thankful that everybody that are here today really thought it was important enough to come out and show up and to support these amazing community authors in this area. Publishing is not always a straight path. There's always different ups and downs and challenges. No matter what book, no matter what format, there's always different journeys with each published work. And so it's just like many flavors at the ice cream shop. These books are really, really important to those who create them. And then there's a journey as we continue the mission of publishing each and every one of these authors' books. And so I do have three, because if you count my daughter, authors that I've helped publish. But I'm also a published author of 9 books myself. I'm going to read one of the books that I wrote during the pandemic, which is A Mind at Peace in 21 Days. But I'm also an Army veteran, and I am the owner of Words Unite Bookstore. Words Unite Bookstore helps independent authors sell their books. And so many of these authors have trusted me, thank you very much, to sell their books and to take their books all over the United States. And so we travel state to state, popping up like small bookshops to sell these independent authors' books. And so I can only go one lane or reach one audience with my books, but when I come and collaborate with all of my independent authors on one platform, we have been able to really, really touch the masses. And so thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for trusting the process. And it's been a journey, and I hope that we continue it. But if you're thinking about authoring, definitely talk to one of us and definitely talk to me before the end of the day. So I'm going to read, like I said, A Mind at Peace in 21 Days. And this was what I wrote during the pandemic, because throughout all the chaos of the unknown, many people were having difficult conversations. And I just wrote what came to me during that time, because if you have a sense of foundation and you learn to control your mind through God and my devotion with God and my relationship with God, that really helped me during that time. So I'm going to read day 2, 3, and 4. So day 2 says, good things come to those who wait. I know what you are thinking. This is easier said than done, but truthfully, it comes down to you waiting on a good harvest when planting a seed. Every time I plant those seeds, that seed doesn't grow immediately, and it might take a little bit more talking to. It might take a little bit more coaching. It might take a little bit more water. It might take a little bit more sunlight. But if you plant that seed and you wait, that harvest truly will grow. In order to gain the outcomes that you desire, you must learn to practice to wait. Practice to wait. Plan, prepare, and most of all, wait for your daily practices to develop into success that you desire. There is beauty during the wait. Day 3, peace is a mindset that you can control. Once you believe that this will become untouchable. Yes, everyone has a bad day, but the beauty of operating with a peace of mind in all things is you can move easily even when walking during a strong gust of wind. And we had a big storm today. I was in the water going through Georgetown and coming back home today. I tried to run to Georgetown, got out of the rain, then came back through the rain through Georgetown. And so even through all of that, we can still stand strong and we can still make it through. And so I'm here today, and I'm thankful that we did make it through the rain. Use this day to meditate on this scripture. And so I listed James 3:18 on day 3. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Now, you got to make peace. Now, some people don't make peace, but sometimes in those environments, you got to make peace. And so day 3 is really, really challenging because, like I said, in the rain and all the honking and all the different things that people were going through, just if you think about today, if I think about the moment, you got to make peace in some instances. And if you don't have a mindset that says, no matter what comes my way, I'm going to go on the other end of this in a peaceful way, in the same character that I left my house today, then it's up to you. And you can control it. Like I said in the beginning, it said peace is a mindset that you can control. So remember that. In day 4, I'm going to leave you with this. There is no better time than this. Living in the moments that matter. I always tell my kids that. Living in the moments that matter are the most important. If you try to worry about yesterday or next week, you don't even know what can happen. I don't check the weather regularly, which is bad because I wasn't ready for today's rain. But even though I wasn't ready, I had a mindset that I was going to do everything that I had to do today. And even though the rain made it a little bit longer for me to do everything, I was able to accomplish everything that I wanted to do today. So there is no better time than this. What are you waiting for? Why do you constantly keep spiraling out of control? When will you tame the madness? Use this day to think about what triggers you and step back into old habits. There is no quick fix to controlling your peace in every environment, but you have the power to control this goal. Stop blaming others or situations for causing you to spiral out of control. In your thoughts and in your responses, it is time to take action. Repeat after me. Now this is for y'all. Don't forget. Y'all gotta say what I say. I am a vessel of peace.
I am a vessel of peace.
I attract this same energy.
I attract the same energy.
Now one more time. I am a vessel of peace.
I am a vessel of peace.
And I attract this same energy.
And I attract the same energy.
Thank y'all. Later.
Our next speaker's walking away. There she is. Where are you going?
Blessings, everybody. Hi, social media. How y'all doing? Those who are familiar and not familiar with me, my name is Alexia Bartholomew, and you can remember Alexia, say Lex or Lexi, and I'll respond to y'all. I want to get shout out to Miss Ashley because last time I came here, I mentioned about 2 books that I published. One is called Father Gave Me the Heart, where the objectives encourage people to do things from the heart. And then the other book, You're Not the Only One Who Has Been Hurt, Violated, Abused, Is Overcome, is to encourage people, let them know they're not the only ones that been bullied, not the only ones who has had a unique relationship with their parents, not the only one who had some unique relationship with the wrong boys and the wrong men, and not the only ones who has been sexually abused. Today I'm going to, well, there's 2 things for y'all. One that I did not tell y'all was I'm part of an anthology, and it's called Hope for Difficult Times. And what I wrote is a story of what took place in the epidemic in early 2020. And I mentioned some good things that happened, you know, able to work in the midst of the pandemic, able to travel to Pennsylvania. There are some disappointments that took place during the epidemic, but it's okay. I'm still here. So to give a hint of what I'm talking about, I titled my article called "I Can't Say God Don't Love Me," because there's some things that we all can admit. It was for God's love. There's some stuff we probably would have been like really destroyed in, or destroyed from with a person. So, you ever have questions? Just come over there to the table. And I want to end on a nice little note, and this is for the ladies. Those of us who's been like past the 20s and the 30s and now in the 40s, maybe some 50s, we all have those moments where we think, okay, we don't need no Motrin, don't need none of that stuff. Then, you know, humble pie kicks in and like, okay, give them the Motrin, all that good stuff. So the poem I called is titled called 30 Land. In my teens, I was invincible, barely had a sick day, could eat almost anything. In my 20s, I was unstoppable, still flexible, traveling to great places, eating great food, barely took a pain pill. Now in my 30s, here comes Modol, Motrin, ice packs, quarters for sprained ankles. Those in the military know what I'm talking about when we get quarters. Taking multivitamins, decreasing on the sweets, more of being healthy with plenty of stretching. Wait till turn 40. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I like that poem. I will say I'm 47 and I don't need that yet, so so I'm happy about that. Hi, everyone. Hi out there in social media land. I am Dr. Karian Zamor, and so I'm an educator. And so writing, oh my gosh, I think like writing has always been a part of me. I come from a family of educators, and I was that really hyper kid when I was little that wouldn't sit still. And so I thank God that I had a parent who loved education, and so she gave me the opportunity and the gift of writing stories to really calm my mind. And so I would say the earliest recollection of writing is about age 5. And I remember the poem. It was about the river, because I love the river. And so my mom was my first educator. And so I'm going to start with my experience, actually, before I start with my experience. And so coming from a family of educators, I have a 7-year-old who just published his first book. And so it's called Landon's Chronicles. And so we wrote it together because he's the kind of child that at 3 years old, I would read stories to him, and he was like, "No, Mom, you missed a word." And I'm just like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "Yeah, you did. You skipped this word." And so I realized that 3 years old, he was reading. And so he began to tell stories, and I would just go ahead and write those stories down. And so what we're doing is a collection of those stories that we have written over the past years. We're bringing it together in Landon's Chronicles. And so this is book 1 of a series of 5 books. And he has 2 best friends who are 7 years old as well. And so the next book is going to be their radical adventure. So I'm super excited about our kid authors here today. And so we know that children are our future. So all of you out there in social media land, make sure you support our kiddos. My book that I will be reading from today is called Restored. And Restored is my 3rd book. But to me, it is the book that gave me life. It is the book where I found my voice. Because my voice was silenced for 14 years. I was a victim of domestic violence. And in that process, I really did not know who I was. One of the things that I will say, I married my college sweetheart, and I stayed in a toxic and chaotic relationship for 14 years because I truly loved him. And I really hoped things would change. When I did find my voice, I became an advocate for all of those who remain in toxicity and chaos. And I am an educator of domestic violence. One of the things that we know during the pandemic is domestic violence cases have risen 69% since the pandemic. Child abuse cases, as it relates to domestic violence, 89%. And domestic violence homicide, over 70%. And so this is my story. The awakening. I felt a heavy thud against my face, and then hot tears stung my eyelids as I winced in pain. I looked into his eyes and I saw it. This man hated me. There was no love or caring, no compassion, and no resemblance of the man I called my husband for 13 years. Rather, his face had contorted into that of a raging beast, his eyes red as a seething volcano, nostrils flared in anger, teeth gritting in disgust, his fist balled for combat. His chest heaved heavily. I felt his hot breath against my neck. You bee, I hate you. Get out of my house or I will drag you out. Before I could react, I felt the stinging of pain as my hair was being pulled from its roots. And he proceeded to drag me across the floor. How did I get here? Why didn't I see this coming? And why didn't I fight back? God, is he going to kill me? What will happen to my children if I die? And what will my parents say? Oh God, I can't die like this. I refuse to die like this. I began to fight with every muscle in my body for every dirty word I had taken in. I fought for every slap, every shove, every punch I had taken in. I fought for the years of secret. I fought and I cried and I cried and I fought. Who was this man? Damn it. Who am I? God, you're going to need to show up fast because I can't live like this anymore. I'm about to kill this man. This is my domestic violence story. I will be in the back for any questions, if anyone would like to hear more about it. Thank you very much for your time.
Miss Brown, and Kate, you guys are up.
Hi, my name is Chante. I'm the author of 5 books. I have 3 poetry books and 2 children books. The one I'm presenting is Your Hair is Beautiful. I wrote this back in 2018, and I dedicated to my son that passed in 2018 as well, Cairo. So this was one of the books I dedicated for him. And my recent children's book is 1, 2, 3, All the Ways That I Love You. It's also a book dedicated for him as well, and to pretty much raise money for the nonprofit I created for him to spread more awareness about sudden unexplained death in childhood. So when I just want to do like a little background. So when I first started writing, it was a way for me to escape, for me to express how I felt at a very young age when I didn't have that outlet that I felt that I needed, or that support that I needed. And at a very young age, I always wanted to publish. And I always told myself, I'm going to publish a book. So it took some time, you know, especially when you don't know the route to take or you don't have that actual support. So as in 2017, that's when I came out with my book that I started writing at the age of 12, like a bunch of poetry. That is pretty much my journey throughout like my ups and downs as a teenager. So that one was Mind, Body, and Soul of a Teenage Intellect. So, Your Hair is Beautiful is pretty much a book where I was inspired because one little girl saw my hair and was like, what's going on with your hair? And I was like, oh. So I wanted to write a book for young people to just love the hair that they're born with and that you can rock it however you want. It's just to inspire their natural beauty that goes out their head and to know that it is special. So it starts off saying that every mammal has hair from a lion's mane to a dog's tail. Your hair is your crown. You can wear it up, you can wear it down. And it's your choice of hairstyles: ponytails, buns, bantu knots, mohawks, fro hawks, twists, curls, waves, and straight. The option is yours. And hair comes in different lengths, colors, and textures. So throughout the book, it shows like how you can rock your hair short, you can rock it medium, you can rock it long, you can even be bald. It's still your hair. Just embrace yourself, love yourself. I discussed hair color because some people would like to dye their hair, but to embrace your natural hair color. And if you want to get older and you want to do something like that, you can, but to always just love the hair that you're originally born with. And the textures, because everyone has different textures, and a lot of people, especially within the melanated community, the black community, we talk about different textures of hair, how we want it this way and that way, and just overall embracing it, because even though the natural hair movement picked up momentum probably like a decade ago, it's still like an issue as well, like the straightening and the heat damage. And I think people are realizing more like it's better just to not have so much chemicals and damage towards your hair. So this book was just my way of just self-love book. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you.
CJ, are you gonna do your thing? Come on, you can do it. Watch the wire, CJ. Yeah, hey guys, can somebody push it down for him? There you go. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to start like right here. My name is Chase Brown. 9 years old. My book title is Henry vs. Dave. It's basically a book about bullying. So I'm just gonna start like, alright. Dave is a person that bullies Dave starts to bully Henry. Tim and Common, Henry's friends, come up with a plan to take care of Henry. Will their solution be able to solve the problem? The bell rings and the class lines up. Dave is bullying a boy named Henry, and then Dave calls Henry a big fat pig, and Henry gets very sad. I'm just gonna skip like right there. Okay. Henry starts to think to himself, will Dave ever stop bullying me? The next day, Miss Pop opens the doors to the classroom. Everyone finds their assigned seats. Dave calls Henry a big fat pig. Henry cries, stop. Tim and Comet see Henry is upset. They come up with an idea to protect Henry. And then they say, we will shield you tomorrow. Feeling good. Wait. I just want to read a couple more. I was like on 2 pages.
So he knows where he is in his book.
I was like,
We're back here.
I was like this page.
All right.
Just flip the page. The next day on the playground, Dave comes up to Henry and calls him a fat pig. As Henry walks away, Tim and Comet make a circle around Henry to show them. Dave starts to get lonely because all the kids are circling around Henry. And Dave says, "I'm sorry, I will not bully you again, Henry," cries Dave. And then Henry says, "Do not bully people, it hurts people's feelings and then you start to feel left out," Henry explains. "For no one enjoys a bully or to be bullied on," Dave answers. He sighs and hangs his head low. Henry and Dave begin working on their friendship. The end.
Janae, you ready for yours?
Watch the cord.
You could.
Hello. So today I'm going to be reading my most recent book. It's called My Dad is an Essential Worker. So I'm just going to read a few pages. So you all know I enjoy traveling. You will never guess where I traveled again. Yep, Louisiana. It is absolutely one of my favorite places to visit. I love to visit Louisiana because most of my family members still live there. My dad and my older siblings are a big reason I visit Louisiana on a daily basis. While I was in Louisiana, I went to visit my dad's job. It was so cool. Well, my dad is a sanitation worker and he works for Coastal Waste. He drives a dump truck. As many of you know, dump trucks pick up trash. Isn't that cool? So there are a lot of special vehicles that you may see on the yard, such as a front loader and a rear loader. My dad drives a rear loader. What would the world be like if there were no sanitation workers? Imagine if there was no one collecting our trash weekly and taking it to the landfill. You guessed right, the world would be polluted. And talk about pollution, how it can affect the world. My gosh, it would be a disaster. And this is why sanitation workers are essential. There are many types of sanitation workers: doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, and police officers. I know several of them. I know a nurse, and his name is Mr. Duckett. He sees and treats patients for various illnesses and conditions. My Auntie Catherine is an elementary school teacher. Yes, school must go on during the pandemic. Lady D and Mr. Billy are firefighters. We cannot just let homes and buildings burn down. Mr. Leary is a police officer. Police officers ensure people are safe and following the law. So, you could see there are many types of essential workers that are recognized as a priority. But yes, my dad is an essential worker too, and I want to recognize him in all the sanitation workers over the world. Thank you.
Whoever's next, over you.
Notice that easy. back up as well. All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Shirley Latour. Good evening to the social media world. I'm Shirley Latour. I am a published author of 6 books. I am also a registered nurse by education, a retired military veteran, and I am a publisher of SL Elite Publishing. Everything started for me back in 2016, actually, with the help of Ms. Lila, who's in the audience. Thank you so much for inspiring me to start on this journey of writing. I've always written, mainly letters in schools. You know, you have that best friend. You sit in the class not paying attention. I could write 9, 10 pages of a letter. One fell swoop, no second thought about it. And writing just came easy for me. Papers came easy for me. Not looking up, and I don't suggest this to whoever's watching or still in school, that the words would just come to me for a paper. And you know you got to have sources, right? So I would just go get the books and be like, this sounds close enough to what I just said. I'm going to give him credit. Turn in the paper, and I'm telling you, 95, 100%, pretty much every time I turn in the paper. So it was just a gift, you know, from God. And in 2018, went through a divorce after 16 years of marriage. I was married to a pastor, but sometimes what we think is a downfall is really the start of our lives, and we need something to catapult us into what our true God-given gift and talent is, and sometimes that does not come out until after a tragedy happens. That's what happened to me. So at the end of 2018, I was pondering on some things. I went to bed that night, and I heard the words, grace to recover. That's all I heard. And I knew that was God speaking to me about a book. But I also knew that it was not a book that I was supposed to write by myself, but I was to bring other women along on this journey of grace to recover. Because in that time of going through divorce, I wasn't bitter. I was able to, forgive him quickly, go on about my life. And I would hear women would just come to me, even strangers would just come to me and just telling me all of their business. I don't know if it's because I was a nurse or it was just because God was planting that down in me, that women need to be able to come to those things, face them, and move on. You don't have to be bitter. You don't have to be broken. And so when they would tell me these things, it's like, this person's been gone for 5, 10 years, but you are still angry with them. They've gone on with their lives, and you're still stuck. And so that's what Grace to Recover is all about, that God gives us grace that we really can recover. And so I put out that call to action at the end of 2018. It was November of 2018. By February of 2019, I already had the title, enough authors to actually author 3 books, 3 anthologies, not just the one that I thought was coming out. So that first one came out in February 2019 called Grace to Recover, How to Divorce Hurt, Addiction, and Overcome Trials with the Power of a Loving God. And so I'm just going to read the introduction to it, and I might read a few lines of the first chapter, which is my chapter. Have you ever been left holding your broken heart? Can't uncover the root of a problem? Perplexed and looking for a solution when life takes an unexpected turn? Discover how a gracious, loving, caring God stepped into our fallen world to redeem it. He sees your addiction, poor choices, and hopelessness. Maybe you've been wounded by divorce or suffered as a result of domestic violence. Do you wonder how you'll care for your children and yourself now that you're facing the world alone? No matter where you start, you can move forward one step at a time. As a former First Lady of a church, I've weathered many adversities in life and ministry. I know how the enemy of our souls, Satan, tries all he can to destroy us so that we never fulfill our purpose in this life. I stand victorious over everything hurled against me. I want you to know that you can recover. You can make it. I link arms with other victorious women willing to be transparent, because that's what it takes, right? And impart the wisdom it took years for them to achieve. If you open your heart and mind to receive what Christ has for you, you will overcome your challenges, discover your purpose, and live a better life this side of heaven. Don't be the person who misses out on all that life has to offer. It might look bleak right now. You may be overwhelmed as you look at your losses. Yes, weeping may last for a night, but daybreak is coming. A better life is about to dawn. So that's for you to take, in for you. Again, we all have trials, things that we go through. And this isn't just for women, it's for men as well, because we know men get broken hearts as well. We know that they go through things as well, but this book is for anyone. And I'll read the titles of the different chapters. The first one is my chapter. It's called Pornography, a Certain Trap. Oh, but grace. Chapter 2 is Freedom Out of Brokenness. The next section, so the first section are broken into sections, The first covers addiction. The second section covers divorce and domestic violence. Chapter 3 is This Is Really My Life. From Anxiety Back to Peace. Then there is Move, God's Plan. Then there is a section on sickness and mental illness. Grace to Recover from Sickness. Chapter 7 is The Elephant in the Room, the topic that's often avoided, but absolutely necessary to discuss. Chapter 8 is Coping with and Overcoming Death and Anxiety. And the last section is Single Parenthood and Teen Pregnancy. So chapter 9 is Labor is Not Easy. Chapter 10 is The Beginning of Tasha. And chapter 11, Broken but I'm Healed. So having the opportunity to bring different people together to release the start of their journey. Many of them had never written before. Many of them had never shared their brokenness, the things that they had gone through. But bringing them together and seeing that they were being freed through the process of writing, it was so heartwarming to know that God could use little old me to help to start the healing process for people. And so the second, Grace to Recover, is how to break free of the secrets, fear, and loss holding you captive with the power of a loving God. And half of these authors suffered through sexual abuse. And there were several of them that were in their late 40s, early 50s, mid-50s, who had never told anyone that they had been molested or raped. But they entrusted me to be that person to help them unlock that. And so never take it for granted that you may be the person that somebody entrusts with their secret to help them along the way. And so writing has been a wonderful thing for me. Helping other people to get their stories out has been a wonderful, wonderful journey for me. And Grace to Recover, Parenting Edition. We all have parents, right? And we've all come through some things. And so this book was really personal to me. This one came out in 2020. This one was very personal to me as I discovered some things. My chapter is called Generational Curses and Blessings, all wrapped in one. And so just grateful for this. Thank you to everyone who put this together. If you have any questions, you want to see anything from my collection of things that I've authored or published, you can come back to my table. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here tonight. I would like to thank CTC and Ashley Knight for coordinating this great event for us authors. My name is Chante and I'm the author of Igniting Your Inner Fire, and you are a work in progress. But this evening, I would like to focus on Igniting Your Inner Fire. It is an inspiration memoir about my life and all the obstacles I've overcome by faith. It is written in 5 sections: faith, family, fitness, fashion, and fire. And fire meaning what purpose you have on earth. We all have a purpose that God has called us to. So at the end, in section 5, I'm hoping that you would discover who you are and who you were meant to be. I would like to share a little bit about my background of my authorship journey. I've always loved to write. Ever since I was a little girl, I used to journal a lot and write all the time. But one day when my daughter and I were in Walmart, we were looking at some books, and my daughter said to me very vividly, she said, "One day, your book is going to be on the shelf." And I looked at her and I was like, and I just put it in the back of my mind. At this time, I had never thought about authoring a book. And so I just put it in the back of my mind, and then in January of 2020, the Lord gave me the title of my book and told me it was time to begin my authorship journey. And I was like, okay. And so that is how I started my authorship journey. And I would like to tell, I have several snippets of my life and how I overcame, and then it has scriptures to back up how you can overcome as well. One of the things that happened to me in April of 2010, my family and I were stationed in Fort Lee, Virginia. And out of nowhere, I became severely ill. I was in severe pain. I was vomiting day and night. I could not have any bowel movements, and I was wondering what was going on. I kept going. I was in and out of the hospital, and every time I go, they couldn't find anything wrong with me. And then, so I decided to try a different hospital. And so at that time, I tried a different hospital, and they admitted me in. And the doctors told me that I had a bowel obstruction, and I'm like, a bowel what? And so I didn't know what that meant at the time. And the doctors started to ask me several questions. Are you a smoker? Have you ever had any surgery in this area? And I'm like, no. And I had never had any previous issues. I was a healthy human being up until that time, had never had any illness or sickness. And so it just came out of nowhere. And so it puzzled both me and the doctors. But the doctor came to me and he said, you're going to have surgery in order to recover. And I looked at the doctor that evening and I said, I don't want to have surgery. And he looked at me and he says, you have to have surgery. This is a life or death situation. You cannot have bowel movements. We took a CT scan. Your bowels are all twisted up in a knot. You have to have surgery. And I said, I believe he's going to heal me. And that night I prayed and I stayed in the hospital bed, and I had faith. I had faith that God was going to heal me. I had been saved since I was 17 years old, and I'm like, God, you have brought me too far to leave me at this time, and I know that you're going to heal me. And so this was a big step of faith. And so, long story short, I did not have to have surgery because God miraculously healed my body. And I'm here to tell that faith does change facts. I'm a member of Christian House of Prayer, and we're being taught in our ministry that faith changes facts. And in my case, it did. My faith did change the fact that I was supposed to have surgery, but I did not have to have surgery. So that was one of my testimonies that I share in my book. And also, growing up, I dealt with a lot of rejection. When I was coming up, I was told I was not good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, and that I would never amount to anything. But I'm here to say I am enough because God chose me, He called me, and He showed me and told me who I was in Him. And He called me at an early age, saved me at the age of 17. So I'm here to tell anybody that you don't have to allow anyone to allow you to be devalued, that you know your worth as a person. And so with that being said, I want to read empowering affirmations from my book. I delight myself in the Lord. I'm reaching greater heights. I'm becoming the best version of myself. I'm a beaming light who is shining radiantly bright. I see the best in myself and I choose to see the best in others. I am healthy. I am kind. I am joyful. I am worthy. I am grateful. I am faithful. I am thriving. I am determined. I am victorious. I am loved. I am accepted. I am admired. I am blessed. I am strong. I am gifted. I am passionate. I am purposeful. I am motivated. I am liberated. I am celebrated. I am enough. I choose to love. I choose to forgive. I choose peace. I choose joy. I choose to look up when things are going down. I choose faith over fear. To sum it all up, I am who God says I am, and I can do what God says I can do. Thank you for your time.
You're up, Miss Redmond.
Creators Risings, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Queen Red. I am a sojourn spiritual alchemist, and I help women and couples deal with and break up inauthentic identity conjured trauma. And I help them to seek their divine spiritual power so they know who they are. Today is 3 months and 14 days since I've had a stroke. And I don't want to go too much into it about me having a stroke and me still recovering. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm fine. This is my first speaking engagement since my stroke. So I want to say thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Lila. Thank you, Andrea. When I was getting prepared today, Spirit said to tell everybody, beat the Herald. So, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I joined the military at 17. The first book I actually read, because I grew up in the public system, so we really didn't read that many books, but the first book I read was The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier. And I was absolutely taken away by that book. And that just kind of unlocked my imagination when it comes to authors and African American authors to write. You know, I felt like I was literally in that place, and I was one of the characters. And you know, almost anybody ever seen Never Ending Story? The Never Ending Story? That's my movie. That's my show right there. That's my movie. It takes you back to childhood, where you're having this imagination of things that are going on. So in my journey, I have overcome, domestic violence, codependency, drug abuse, you name it, whatever. But I'm here to tell you that you need to go back and get what you started and finish it. One of my favorite scriptures, and let me back up a little bit. I truly believe that life is ever evolving. When I say ever evolving, you ever read the Bible and you read the scripture, you read that scripture several times, and then that one time, it's like, boom, So the scripture that was always, I think my first scripture that I fell in love with was Habakkuk 2:2. And Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision down or revelation and make it plain so that the herald may run with it. And I'm just going to just read that part. I find it interesting because when God said, be still, he's telling us to run past the words we speak. You are the herald. You already spoke into existence the thing that you were supposed to do months ago, years ago, or whatever the case is. When I look back at my book and I say this was started back in 2007, if I would have just left that vision there and not went after what I know my heart's desire, because I truly love poetry. I'm a poet at heart. I cannot imagine what the message that would be. Everything inspires me. Everything. So my message to you is to beat the herald. When you write your vision down and you make it plain, you are now speaking into existence the thing that you want to accomplish. So I'm telling you today, go back and accomplish it. That's my message to you. So I'm going to share with you two poems today. And just to show you just the different things that inspire me. I'm a veteran. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a spiritual life coach. I help people with different things, but my main focus is self, wealth, and legacy. So this poem I have wrote is called How Much is Free for Free? And I wrote this poem after they finished opening up the Central Texas Veterans Memorial. And me and my family went there one day, and that's the first time they kind of opened it up. And it was really overwhelming for me because there was so many graves and different things. And then I saw somebody who I knew in my first duty station in Germany. So this is what came to me that evening when I got home. And hopefully I don't sound crazy because I'm still trying to pace myself.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. Unknowing to me, bittersweet ignorance, you see, as I celebrate another year of life. I'm humbled at the many years you sacrificed in the fight for my freedom. Inhale the sense of 21 gun salutes. Inhale the essence of souls wandering amongst the tombs. Death beneath my feet, your soulless body in this grave, my heart weeps, because I'm still inhaling, you see. Exhale the meaning of life. The ponds cries rivers for freedom. Freedom, let it ring. Freedom got the slaves the same. Freedom is the seed of my blood. Freedom isn't free without blood. Christ died. You died. But I'm alive. Who are you? I don't know. I know I served with you, before you or after you, but I served. Unknowing to me, the color of your eyes, the family that cries, the flowers that died, the hands that placed them there, but I give honor to you. Unknowing to me, the cost you see. How much is free for free? And this is the type of, like, I'm an empath, so I'm very emotional. I use words to transmute my emotions. So hopefully you receive that. And the second poem I'm going to read is one, this will be my first time reading this in public. It's almost like a story, and I really don't know what inspired me to write this, but I've always liked this one, I just never read it in public. And it's called Genocide, like genocide. Jenna walked into debate class a little late that day. Typically, she was quiet to pass the time away. In the middle of a heated discussion, students argued their lives away. This time it was different, as she heard some of them say, we had it the worst. We were slaves for generations and cursed, kidnapped from our own country, with masters who took us as property, one black girl explained. That's a bunch of lies. The whites slaughtered our lives, millions at a time, said the Native American guy. Jacob the Jew jumped in. Are you kidding me? You can't win. The Nazis were ruthless fools. They gassed us and starved us like that mess was cool. Jenna couldn't listen any longer. Her consciousness grew stronger. In that moment she arrived, she stood up and demanded all eyes. Are you all out of your minds? You argue, fuss, and fight? Of what race suffered the worst? Needless death count statistics you boast? I'll tell you the truth. The worst is in this room, but you suffer none. You, all your homes and your guns, but who protects the children? Dying inside the mother's wombs, lack of nutrition, starving malnutrition, backs of straws and weak bones, balloon belly babies with feeble little arms, frail hides and legs, disease-infested ponds, systematic killing, bloodshed of the unwilling, fetal suicide. Accountability has died because it cares not of race, sex, or religion. It has no specific preference as long as death is the sentence. They brainwash the weak and kill the poverty-stricken. Rape mothers in the sight of sons while God is their witness. Genocide, genocide, genocide. My brother died of genocide protecting me, his sister. It's attacked different spaces, countries, states, and places, wearing a mask of silent slaughter, political homicide, hunger. So don't fall victim to prey. Look around and find a way to get along with one another, to decrease this monstrous number of genocides get away. The classroom volume was mute as students and teachers stood still. In mental sullen grief and shattered rhetorical beliefs, genocide was genocide between the debate of the ignorant. Y'all can find me on www.greenhearthealingsojourn.com, and you can learn everything about me there, or come to my table.
Hello everybody, I'm Antoine. I was here like 2 weeks ago. I just want to start out by saying, because this is a journey, and there are some times we're going to be in a place where our pastors, our family members can't give us an answer. And this is the purpose of me writing my first book called The Accepted Life, well, during that season of my life during COVID. So I retired from the military in 2015, medical discharge. So my body started breaking down. And I'm very young, so in 2016, I had a carpet cleaning business. I lost that. In 2016, my mother's older sister passed away from a simple surgery. She had surgery on the gallbladder. 2017, my grandmother passed away from cancer. 2018, my mom died from a stroke. So it's like, when you go to your spiritual leaders, what do you think about life now? Where do you go? Who do you get understanding from? I can't get understanding from the seniors in my family anymore because they're no longer here. So who do I look in the mirror to? And then when I look in the mirror, when you try to get over your mother, I see her every day. So I had to find God for myself in this place. I had to replace his other voices with his voice and continue this journey, because it is a battlefield of the mind. And I found myself in a ministry where people try to replace his voice a lot. And so he has guided me. You know, I went to the altar because I was hearing so much. and he gave me a gift to continue writing. And that was not the purpose of what I was going for. So I'm going up to the altar one Sunday, and hurting in my heart from just losing my mom. And we didn't have a real close relationship, but because I grew up with my grandmother, but it's still a deep wound inside because you desire that long connection. And God is like, well, if you take a step forward, I'm going to give you more gifts. So I take this step forward, trusting Him, and He gives me the gift of a writer. So, I just want to fast forward a little bit. I'm at CTC, and every time I sit at a computer or I pick up a pen, the gift turns on. Like she said, I write a paper for an English professor, get an A. Start writing a book, a chapter comes out. So I just want to encourage you, if you're in a place where you don't know what to do, just continue trusting what God said to you the first time. And I want to read just a snippet out. I want to read the table of contents first, because if I read one chapter, I will have to read the whole thing. So the first chapter is the introduction. The second one is the controversy. The third is the newborn. The fourth is called cleansing. The fifth chapter is called New Testament, New Dispensation. The sixth chapter is called Guided. The seventh is abiding. 8 is controversy 2. 9 is healing. 10 is thinking as in heaven. 11 is focus. 12 is being who you are in Christ. 13 is following orders. 14 is new and living way. And 15 is called new. So within this book, it is designed to bring you back into a right perspective of God, places where the church does not tell you what you can and can't do out of your relationship because of religion and tradition. And it's filled with scriptures, prayers, prophetic activations. I'm in the office of a prophet. I just didn't want to tell y'all that. But different things are happening going on that we just need to be aware of, and what we can do and what we have inherited, because a lot of us don't move in that position like we've already received what God wants us to have in our day-to-day life. So I'll read just a little bit, and you can find out if this book is for you. Have you ever wondered if your own works or your works are truly pleasing to God and are acceptable of Him? Have these questions in your heart brought in other thoughts of condemnation, confusion, hopelessness, defeatism, despair, restlessness, and even walking out on your faith in Jesus? Do you feel good enough or not? Do you feel as though Christianity is exhausting? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you will find the solutions during the season of studying the revelation that God has placed in the book. So that's what I have for you guys. Again, my name is Antoinette.
Can't reach it. We have 4 authors who pre-recorded for us, and one of the authors, Ann Redolphs, we actually have in a WebEx to speak with after, but we're going to go ahead and show you the videos.
Hi, my name is Adrian Donaldson, and the name of my book is TikTok and My School Rock. Good morning. 80 miles, what time is it? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, talk. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. Wake up, sleepyhead, here's a morning kiss for you. Tickety-tock goes the seconds on the clock. Brush your teeth, squeaky clean, top and bottom, front and back, round and round. You know what I'm...
Attach it to the actual live stream, so that way everyone will be able to see it. I don't know what happened. I wonder when I moved it. Y'all see the picture now? No.
Jelly Bean. Hurry, hurry, time to get dressed. Don't forget to match your socks and shoes. Eat your yummy breakfast, grab your lunch out the door, and off to school. Eight months, what time is it? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, rock. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, talk. Good afternoon. Time for recess. Stretch bills, razor bones, hopscotch, and baseball. Recess is the best. Ding dong, lunch bell song. Now it's time for lunch. Don't forget your fruits and veggies. And your protein, dairy, and grain. A happy, healthy meal.
I apologize for this, and if any of our authors are watching, we are going to go ahead and attach the YouTube to the actual live stream. So I promise you it will be there, okay? No? What, Ashley? No. All right. So Ann Redolphs, if you're watching this, because she is, we will have this connected at least by tomorrow, okay? We promise. We just want to thank all of our authors for their amazing work, their amazing words. We are... You did it?
Really, it's really good for you.
She rocks.
Hi, my name is Adrian Donaldson, and the name of my book is TikTok and My School Rock. Good morning. 80 miles, what time is it? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, talk. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. Wake up, sleepyhead, here's a morning kiss for you. Tickety-tock goes the seconds on the clock. Brush your teeth, squeaky clean, top and bottom, front and back, round and round. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean. Hurry, hurry, time to get dressed. Don't forget to match your socks and shoes. Eat your yummy breakfast, grab your lunch out the door, and off to school. 8 months, what time is it? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, rock. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, talk. Good afternoon. Time for recess. Stretch bills, razor bones, hopscotch, and baseball. Recess is the best. Ding dong, lunch bell song. Now it's time for lunch. Don't forget your fruits and veggies. And your protein, dairy, and grain. A happy, healthy belly is really good for your brain. 8 months, what time is it? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Time to say goodbye. School is out and the bus is waiting. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Homework is done, dinner is ready. Let's eat, let's eat, let's eat. Bath is done, teeth are brushed. Let's get you all tucked in. Here's your midnight kiss. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Sweet dreams, Amos. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Good night. What inspired me to write TikTok and My School Rock was when my mom first started My Little Story.
Hi, I'm Ann Redolphs, and today I will be reading from Illness Can Be the Cure. This is a section where I describe how our illnesses are trying to get us past our false self and back to our true self. Now, this is very important. Most of us have these two confused, and our illnesses are trying to get us past our confusion, giving us some direction in how to get back to our true self. So this is one of the many messages your illness might be communicating to you. The emotions of your false self, or lack of emotion, have overshadowed your true feelings. A sick emotional body often manifests as physical heart disease. For example, if we block the flow of our genuine emotions, whether our grief, guilt, or fear, we may develop obstructions in our coronary arteries. If an infarct results, that's a heart attack, the deadening of tissue, then the body is alerting us that some aspect of our emotional body is dead to us and requires resuscitation. People may choose for their physical bodies what they've chosen for their emotional ones, a bypass. Tragically, some have bypassed their emotional bodies entirely. They've elected the easy route of avoiding their emotions because they don't want to budge the blocks. Here's another communication that our illnesses might be delivering. You live in your own little world. When we're lost in the artificial reality of our false selves and those of others, we may succumb to dementia later in life. Don't we all know people with dementia? Our egos accumulate quite a toll over time, particularly when we forget what actually happened during traumatic events and pass on storylines that protect us and our loved ones from painful truth, or at least that's how we feel. And not wanting to face the, at times, grave consequences of our deception is another reason to block the truth of our lives. As we eliminate this truth, however, we are inciting our bodies to draw attention to our memory lapses, such as with the cognitive impairments accompanying Alzheimer's disease and strokes. You're angry. That's another common message of our body symptoms. Any diagnosis that contains the suffix itis, arthritis, polymyositis, cystitis means inflammation. And inflammation, what does the word mean? Anger. So, in my experience, inflammation of the physical body represents pent-up fury in the psychological body. The exact site in the physical body is again significant in regard to the psychological body. The joint, as in arthritis, where two separate parts meet, is the location of the inflammation, right? It signifies an enraging relationship problem. Muscles are the place of inflammation in polymyositis. There's probably some anger concerning movement, since we use our muscles in movement, or lack of movement. Perhaps our actions are not aligned with our true nature, and we unconsciously resent this. Cystitis is an inflammation of the bladder and urethra, and this communication of anger is commonly found in sexually abused girls because this area of their bodies is enduring the trauma and is rightly wrathful. Another message of our bodies is, you're lying. Most of us assume that what we feel is an honest expression of ourselves. And this may not be accurate. We often feel what we've been programmed or conditioned to feel, what others demanded or encouraged us to feel, rather than our authentic human feelings. The same applies to our thoughts. We assume what's running around in our heads is unique to our minds, when these thoughts are typically programmed and conditioned into us from others, such as through the media or popular music industry. Automatically passing on to others what has been passed to us, rather than what we truly feel and think, is like offering junk food. The more of this junk food we consume and pass on, the more likely we are to be sick. Feeling or believing that we can improve our health is a display of this environmental programming and conditioning. A specific soul communication is never a permanent condition unless we're electing to ignore it. So that's a section from my book, and the message is so hopeful that every single symptom we have, every disease process, is a communication of the soul, and we need to listen to it and respond as asked to get better.
Hi, I'm Fanny Bennett, your faith and inspirational lady, and I'm here to introduce my newest book, Just Have Faith and Keep It Moving, my little book of blogs. My little book of inspirational blogs is a download of inspirational, life-changing, and a few controversial blogs that are meant to ignite your thoughts and teach a few lessons. There is an element of faith within each blog. We walk by faith and not by sight. So I'll introduce just a snippet of blogs in my book, and I hope that it blesses you, because that's what it's meant for. Let's go to blog 15, The Gift of Time. There is so much we can do with the gift of time. I know we like our movies and sitcoms, but while you are watching television and you need to monitor your time. Know the time your favorite shows come on. Are these times interfering with you accomplishing your daily task or purpose in life? Live streaming is getting popular, and rightly so. You can complete tasks and later turn on live streaming television any time of the day or night, regardless of how you watch television. Time is a gift. Use it wisely. Talking on the phone, texting, emailing, and social media may also zap time. This was a stronghold in my life. Oh, some of you have that same stronghold. After I retired, I had not recognized until I began to use my at-a-glance calendar. I wrote down the top 3 things for the day. Things I had to accomplish immediately. I identified the first and the last. After I identified the first and the last, I also tracked my water intake. I even tracked the books of the Bible that I read daily on this calendar. It was a lifesaver for me. When I reflected on my day, I noticed incomplete tasks. I identified what was causing me to neglect my goals. In most cases, I was spending too much time talking on the phone, texting, or visiting social media. Ooh, I know you're not doing that. None of these things are wrong, but if you are not monitoring the time you spend with them, you are subject to lose the gift of time that will support it for you to accomplish your goals. Time is a gift. There are 17 blogs in this little inspirational book of blogs for you. They are there for you to develop great faith and to become the force behind your faith. Get my little book of inspirational blogs, Just Have Faith and Keep It Moving, so in your life, you may develop great faith and keep it moving. I'm Fanny Bennett, your faith and inspirational lady. Love being here with you. Thank you, Central College Library, for having us here.
Hello, and good evening. I'm QJ Walker, the author of Flow the Heartbeat. I will be reading 2 of my original poems for you. First poem is Hollow. You can't see the cuts and bruises, but they are there. Invisible to the eye, visible to the soul. Tears have flowed, hearts have bled, trying to find a place to be whole. Wanting to give of yourself repeatedly, but raped internally. The small hole becomes bigger, eventually leaving a hollow hole that was once a heart. Hollow. Value. My value is too strong, no need to keep hanging on. My love is deep, only the right ones can reach. My value is too strong, no time to waste. Keep marching on, loving me, keep loving me. Self-love, self-care, beautiful and worthy, God's child. Don't dim your light, always shine regardless. Value is too strong, keep loving yourself, keep loving yourself. Value. Flow of the heartbeat, QJ Walker. Thank you.
I just want to thank all of you wonderful authors for being here tonight. We truly, truly are very grateful to have you. And could you say some last words, Miss Ashley Knight?
Again, thank y'all. This will not be the first or the second. We will have many, many more. So we're looking forward to many more opportunities like this. But it's all about getting these authors out here and getting in the community and speaking about your book, especially reading it, is a whole nother field of writing it and publishing it and just selling it. And so congratulations to all the published authors that are here. Please speak to each and every one of them. And if you have any questions, speak to me. And thank you, CTC, for always opening this door for us. And so we're looking forward to the next. Thank y'all. Later.